my God. All right. Welcome back to the channel, guys. This is GSI Guy, your go-to channel for Boeing 767 system breakdowns, taught by somebody who is just an aircraft enthusiast and has nothing to do with the training program ever. Today we're going to be diving into a component of the hydraulic system. I had a request to do a video of a little bit more of a deep dive on this one, and it is a pump that only kicks in when it's needed. You want to guess what it is? It's the air demand pump. So first off, we got to ask, what is the air demand pump, or the ADP? I've also heard it called the air driven pump. I've heard it called the air driven demand pump. It's all the same as far as I'm concerned. The way Boeing does define it, though, is ADP stands for the air demand pump. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that. Now, if you are unfamiliar with the hydraulic system of the 7.6, go ahead and check out the video up here somewhere for the hydraulic system. It's in my systems playlist. You can go in there, check that out, along with some other ones like electrics and pneumatics and pressurization and all kinds of other stuff that you could maybe find useful in the 7.6. But what we have to do is we have to ask, what is the air demand pump? Well, the air demand pump is a pneumatically powered backup for hydraulic pressure to the center hydraulic system on the 7.6. So it's not like the engine-driven pumps that run continuously. It's not like the electric pumps on the center, the two electric pumps on the center. Those are primary pumps. So the engine and the electrics are primary pumps. So they run constantly when they're turned on, and then they operate. The ADP is activated under specific conditions. It's a demand pump. That's why it's called an air demand pump. So it only works on demand. I think I've said demand enough. I've said it almost too much to where it kind of loses all meaning. It's where you say a word so many times, you're just like demand, demand, demand. Then all of a sudden it loses all meaning. It's weird. Anyway, this is more of a requested pressure pump, right? So I've requested pressure. It needs to run, and it needs to give me that pressure. Now, how does that happen? Well, again, I've got a lovely little PowerPoint slide up here for everybody to look at, and I know everybody loves when I have PowerPoints, but boy, this schematic can't really be beat. I love this schematic. There's one that's better, I think, as far as animations are concerned, and it's from Thomas Cook, and if you've ever seen them, they're pretty cool. This one's just a stationary one, just so we can point out some of the air demand pump stuff, and kind of go without having all the flashiness that comes along with the moving diagrams. So we know what the air demand pump is. It's a demand pump on the center hydraulic system to help with heavy load items. Because if you remember from the hydraulics video, as I mentioned before, our heavy system is the center system. And it's heavy basically for two reasons: flaps, slats, gear, right? So flaps, slats, gear. I use these in conjunction with each other because they're the same, right? They operate off the same handle, so it's the same thing. You can also throw in nose gear steering. You can say nose wheel steering's in there too, there, Mr. Instructor. And it's like, yeah, that's true, it is. But you have to have landing gear for the nose wheel steering. So when I say landing gear, I'm incorporating the nose wheel steering into that. Okay, so that's why it's needed. So landing gear extension, flap movement. Anytime the pressure goes low, really, in the center system, that ADP is going to kick on, because again, it's a demand pump, so it's going to kick on demand. Now there is, a slight caveat to this, right? So our left and right demand pumps operate when system pressure goes low, and only when system pressure goes low, or pump pressure goes low, causing the system pressure to go low. The ADP is a little bit different in that regard, and the reason it's a little bit different is because not only does it work on demand when the pressure goes low, but it has an anticipation switch in it. It's got basically two anticipation switches. So what that means is it's anticipating the pressure going low in the system. And it does that by flap and gear handle movement. All right. So whenever I move the flap handle, whenever I move the gear, the system has logic in it that says, the pressure's gonna drop. Pressure's gonna go away. And when it realizes that, it goes ahead and turns on your ADP and allows it to run. Now, a couple little things about it. We said it's a pneumatically powered pump. So where does it get its pneumatics from? Where does the pneumatics come from? Okay, well, I guess I'll tell you because I can't hear you if you're answering. But the center duct in your pneumatic system, so your bleed air, when far right side of the overhead panel, you got your bleed air panel, and Boeing was even nice enough to label ADP there on that center pneumatic duct that's in there. And that's where it comes from. It comes from that center duct. That's also why that crossover or the isolation valve on the center is guarded, because if it wasn't guarded and somebody went up there and they pushed that button and they closed that valve, all of a sudden your ADP doesn't get any air. And if your ADP doesn't get any air, you know how bad that can be? It could suck. I'm just saying. It takes 3 minutes to put your gear or your flaps from 0 to 20. 3 minutes. Now, I know that 3 minutes doesn't sound like a lot of time, or it does depending on who you are. But if you're on an approach and you're trying to drop your flaps and you're trying to slow down and you're trying to do certain things for a certain arrival and for a certain whatever, 3 minutes is a long time. The other part of that is on a go around. If you have to go around and you're trying to bring the flaps up, because let's face it, those two little electric center hydraulic pumps, they're too small to be running the freaking barn doors you have out there in and out of the jet stream that the airplane's trying to fly through. So you need the ADP as much as possible. If you can't have it, you got to do some planning and some additional steps to be able to get gear down, because your gear is going to take forever to come down, to get your flaps down, and realize that if you go around your flap, you're probably going to overspeed your flaps, because let's face it, they don't go up that fast. So just things to think about, right? So again, it's a demand pump on the center hydraulic. It gives us hydraulic to the center flight controls, to anything it needs to, right? If we look at our schematic here, now that I've got it up, now I've got it on another screen, so I got to come over here and look. So it looks like I'm looking away, but I'm really looking at my other screen. So there's the air demand pump. And then if we want to look at everything it provides, yeah, boom, gives you all that. I didn't draw in here the nose gear steering, nose wheel steering. It's incorporated in here too. I just didn't make the little drawing down this way. And yes, I draw like a 3-year-old. I'm sorry, it's on a computer and a mouse. That was the best I could do. But you can see where it gives us all that. And then here, flaps, slats, gear. I was going out this way and drawing this, and I'll be honest, I totally just missed those lines. But it gives us any of that we need for the demand side of things, right? So if we think about where this is located and we think about what it provides, that's it. Boy, this is going to be a really short video. I'm not used to this. I'm used to shooting, a video that's like an hour long. But I mean, that's it. There's really not much to this thing. You don't really have any other control other than the button on the hydraulic panel. And if you want to look at that, here, I'll show it to you. So we've got this right here, And you can ignore this. This is from, when we're talking about, hydraulics. And again, it's in the hydraulic video. But it's this switch right here. That's my air demand pump. So in the off position, it's off. In the auto position, it runs automatically. And when it's on, it's on. And it's constantly running. Here, pressure light, that's if it's pressure requested, not given. And again, I explained that in the hydraulic video. And then overheat, that's just the temperature of the fluid coming out of the pump's too high. It goes above whatever threshold is on that little thermometer. And it says, oh, you're overheated, meaning the pump is probably overheated. Okay. And that's it. That's all there is. Now, the ADP is located on the left side of the aircraft. It's located directly behind the left wing. And you'll see little slats right behind the left wing. That's the exhaust for it. So the air goes through it. And really, if you want to think about it is, I don't want to say impossible, but it's really damn hard for me to find a picture of that panel being removed and having the ADP in there. So again, if you have that, please send it to me. I would really appreciate it. You can send it to any of the email addresses in the description, and that'd be great. I would really appreciate it. Basically, it's a giant turbo, if you want to think of it like that. So if you know like cars and you know what a turbo looks like on a car, you have an intake side and an exhaust side. So the intake side is where the air comes in. It spins the turbine on that side, which is connected via this little spindle over to a compressor wheel, and then that compressor wheel is really what gives you your pressure. That is essentially what your ADP is. You have one side that's an intake side, and then you have an exhaust side where it blows out from the left side of the airplane. It's kind of cool. Now, ADP, you have the one control up front, and it's either going to work or it isn't. So, hopefully it works, because boy, it causes some issues outside. Taking forever to put your flaps down, to putting your gear down takes longer. I mean, there's even a possibility you can get gear disagree by putting them down without an ADP, because of how long it takes for your gear to come down. And I mean, that gear disagree, I think there's an inhibit of something like 23 seconds. So it takes a long time for the gear to come down, lock into place with just the two little bumps in there. But again, the ADP, air demand pump, air driven demand pump. I don't care what you call it. Whatever your company calls it, call it that. Whatever your FCOM says, use it. Boeing calls it an air demand pump because it is air driven demand hydraulic pressure. That's what it is. And it's center system hydraulic pressure because that's the heavy system, and it's heavy because it's flaps, slats, and gear. Okay. Sorry, didn't mean to do that, but let's come over here, and then if you guys have any questions, please reach out to me, ask me, tell me what you want to know, if I didn't say enough in this video, because it is only 13 minutes and I'm used to going for 40. If I didn't say enough, if you have more specific questions on what the ADP does and how it operates, if you have any questions about any of the systems, you can always reach out to me via email. They're all going to be in the description. There's like 3 or 4 of them that will all get to me. You can leave a comment. I love reading the comments from you guys. I like getting the emails from you guys. I like being able to help everybody and get as much information out there as possible. As of this video, it is October 19th, and it's 9:19 p.m. on the Eastern Standard Time, or Eastern. What are we? Eastern Daylight Time. I have 304 subscribers, which is awesome. I can't appreciate you guys enough. Thank you guys enough. You guys are, what helped me keep wanting to do this kind of stuff. If you're watching this and you're not subscribed, I don't know why. Can you just go ahead and hit that button? That'd be great. You can also like the video, share the video. That always helps with the algorithm to get it out there to where other people see it. And boy, if you could share it on social media, that would be awesome. If you could share my channel in any way, shape, or form to anybody who might need it, might think it's interesting, might think it's funny, might think I'm full of shit. I don't care at this point. I just want people to, I want people to be able to see the content, and I don't want it to fall behind some wall in the algorithm because not enough people are watching it. But yeah, can't appreciate you guys enough. Really, really thank you. Appreciate 300 people. I'd really like to get to 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, whatever we can get to. I want to be the guy that people seem to go to when it comes to the 7.6 for aircraft systems, and I'm slowly working my way there. If you are subscribed here, thanks. And if you are on the Facebook page, thank you for that too. And outside of that, I'm going to probably do one other video and then I'm going to bed. So you guys have a good one, and I'll see you on the next video.